What's up, everyone? So, unfortunately, I pretty much blew up one of my trading accounts. Now, I didn't do it to the point where I was completely drained, but I lost more than 50% of my one portfolio. Trading the last 2 weeks basically have been really bad weeks for me trading wise. Um, they really haven't been a ton of like really bad days, but there's been a few days where I've definitely overtraded and I've been falling victim to FOMO way more than I want to admit. And basically, in this video, I'm just explaining why I pretty much blew up my one account. And obviously, like, I have more money. Like, I have a bunch of money stashed. So like, I don't have. It's not like I like lost all my money, but like, I had like 1,200 or something in the one account, and then it was down to like six. So, I put in another. I basically brought it back up to the level where I was at before, around like 14, 1500. So basically, I gave myself a bailout, pumped some stimulus money into the account, and gonna innovate. Hopefully, get some quantitative easing going on in this account. So yeah, that was one of the biggest reasons why I haven't been making videos the last 2 weeks. I really kind of have been depressed because of the fact that I really haven't been able to make any decent profits, and I've been actually losing a decent amount of money in the past 2 weeks. Um, and I'm gonna go over some of the trades that one of the reasons why, and you'll kind of see that a lot of times in these trades, it's not that they're bad trades. Well, I shouldn't say that. They are bad trades, but it's not that I didn't have the right idea. It's that I waited too long, and I fell victim to FOMO. And FOMO is the big thing that keeps getting me, because I see these stocks, running up. Like this day, that this HGSH was running up. In the pre-market, I was watching it. I was like 340. Oh, okay, and it's over four, almost to five. And then it starts pulling back, and you're like, oh, okay, this thing, don't know what it wants to do. But then the bell rings and it starts to rip, and next thing you know, it's breaking the volume weighted average price. It's pushing higher. And yeah, you kind of had this flat top, but then it tried to break it. So you had this breakout here, and then it tried to break out again, looking like it was going to continue higher. And I ended up taking the trade, almost buying kind of in the middle of this candle, hoping that it would hold and then push higher, kind of be a 1 to 2 minute pullback. And unfortunately, it failed. So then, and this is one of the reasons. This is kind of one of the things where it's like, if I would have just held this, at this level, and wouldn't have sold here and just held and then just sold here, I would have actually this would have actually been a decent trade, right? But unfortunately, I sold quick, not wanting to catch like a huge loss. So obviously it was like 8 cents. It wasn't nothing big, but then as this thing kind of holds this level, pushes higher, I'm like, oh crap, I missed it. So then it holds this level again. You see this kind of support coming in. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me buy this here with a stop at the volume weighted average price, or at least close to it. Unfortunately, as soon as I bought, this kind of looked like it was going to break out. I thought, this is actually decent move up to 530, and then it immediately flushes. And even if I sell up here at 530, it would have been a decent trade. So that's why I say, like, these weren't terrible trades. It was just the fact that, like, you had this resistance level forming around 550, in this 540 kind of area, 535, wherever. And yeah, it just ended up being a short from that level, and I was looking at it more of a long over that level, and I just got kind of caught, fell victim to it. But immediately after this turns into a short setup. This right here is a perfect short, like picture perfect short setup, right? Breaks the volume weighted average price, tries to break above it, cannot reclaim the VWAP, comes down higher. One more attempt to try and break above the VWAP. This is where you go short right here at 458, holding to this move down below 3. Picture perfect short setup. Unfortunately, it was another one of those stocks where the margin rate is 250, so I just don't feel comfortable ever shorting a stock when it has such a margin rate. It just doesn't work for me, really. And one of the things, you know, that's been happening is we've had these big running stocks. These stocks run up like huge, but they make a lot of the moves pre-market. So one of the things that happened to me yesterday on GTech, and now this stock, I was technically green on it. I think I was, yeah. So I shorted it. I think. So I went long here. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I remember what happened here. So basically, I overtraded this, way overtraded it. I was green on it, but it was very minimal green, and I was actually red after the commissions. So this was kind of one of those things where I was trying to short here, into the VWAP, hoping that it would push lower because it kind of was setting up with the short setup where it was trying to break above the VWAP, could not hold it, broke down again, came up, and just couldn't break above it. And this stock, it's kind of trying to move in with the EV plays. So it's had this announcement that they're trying to use like bring forklift EV compatibility into the market. So that's one of the things that they're providing with this stock. So that's one of the reasons why this was popping up, almost 300% pre-market that day. So it went from like $5, or I guess over 100% anyway, $5.45 all the way up to $11.40. But it really wasn't. It didn't look like it was going to be a long, so I was trying to short it originally, and then it kind of broke above, and when I covered here, I was looking. I was like, okay, now maybe I'll go long. So what ended up happening is that I actually hit the buy button, and I didn't mean to. And when I did that, I pretty much just, instead of holding it, being like, oh well, maybe I'll just hold it because I hit the buy and it looks like it's going higher anyway. I stupidly just sold it immediately because I was like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I want to get out. I don't want to get caught in a because I was kind of short bias on the stock. And this is one of the reasons why I say you can't build a bias and let that bias kind of work against you when it comes to the momentum that the stock has. So if this is getting a ton of green volume, you can't be like, oh, I'm still short bias, so I'm going to go short and hold short, because through this rip, you don't know what's going to happen. This thing could go to $20. You don't want to be holding short when this thing starts to rip. So you kind of had to look for an opportunity for resistance. And this is where, here I saw kind of resistance sitting at the 1050 level. But then obviously I went short. It kind of went against me, but then it came, it kind of broke down again. So I was able to cover there. And then I went short again up here and covered here. So these two are nice trades, right? They were just looking for the resistance levels, shorting into them, and then covering down towards the volume weighted average price, right? And this first short obviously was, in hindsight, it was decent, right? Because if you look at this stock like right now, right, this kind of looks like a short, right? Like obviously if you look at that last candle, but anywhere in here you're like, okay, this is breaking lower, this is trying to break up, okay, it didn't break above, so now it's a short. And this is why I got short right here, thinking that, okay, this is just going to go lower. And the news wasn't anything significant. It's not like, oh, we signed a deal with like, General Motors or something, or we signed a deal with Tesla, or signed a deal with somebody to, provide EV forklifts. It really was just fluff to pump it up. And as you see, it kind of has sold off. It sold off over the night, and then today it's popping up again, but still anything significant. But yeah, that's just kind of one of the problems that I've had in the past 2 weeks is just over trading. Is just kind of getting into that FOMO where you're like, crap, I missed it, or a trade goes against you, so you immediately kind of, oh crap, now I need to make back that money, so I'm gonna get short again up here, and then it doesn't hold. Obviously this was a decent trade, but this stock down here, CIIC, this one got me bad, and it got me a couple of times. And this was one of the ones that I lost probably more money than anything in the past couple weeks. So on this stock, it was kind of one of those things where I'm looking at this like a short, right? And the problem I have is that I'm shorting here when it broke below the VWAP, hoping that it holds below the VWAP. And that these candles, maybe give you a little bit of chop, but then it comes back down. As you see, it does. but then it immediately bounces back up. So you don't have that kind of short. And because I was kind of hesitant about it, I ended up, cutting the trade with a small loss. It wasn't a big deal. But the next day, I was kind of looking at this thing like, man, okay, it went up again. Now it has to be a short, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to short this thing, and then I'm going to, because like you see these setups, right? Like it's hitting the volume weighted average price, but it can't break above it. So at this level, you're like, this thing could be a short. And then it almost immediately rips up, reclaims the VWAP, holds above the VWAP, and then gives you a push higher. Now, the silly thing is that if I just hold this through this chop and into this move towards the end of the day, right, down to 23.55, my short at 28.90 already looks really good. It looks like, wow, that would have been an amazing short. Why did you lose money on it? Well, the big reason is because it broke above the VWAP here and held. If this candle was big for me, because if it broke below the VWAP again, I would have been comfortable to hold the trade, but it broke higher, looking like, hey, this thing could go to the moon. And it was trading really strongly the past couple weeks before it. So I was shorting it, hoping for profit selling, hoping, okay, it's already up, 300-400% in the past couple of days. Maybe people will look for profit selling. And obviously we see that's what happened afterwards in the next couple of days following. One of the reasons why I was very kind of upset with myself, because I could have just held any one of these shorts. Now, I like to trade, day trade and not swing trade. So especially when you're talking about shorting a stock. But at the same time, I knew that these were going to be shorts. Obviously, if I would have shorted this day and held, it would have been a really bad short, right? Because, I would have woke up the next day and be like, oh no, how much can I lose? But if I would have just held it through this level, it would have been a decent short, right? And that's just the problem with trading, is sometimes you kind of have to be willing to hold through the chop, whether that's to the long side or the short side. I had a bunch of trades in the last couple of weeks where I would buy going long, and then it would chop me out real quick, down 20-30 cents real quick, and then I would be like, oh crap, I'm just going to get out. I don't want to hold this thing, when it in a reversal, and then immediately it pops back up through the level where I bought it at, and goes to the moon without me. And it leads towards emotional trading, because then you start to go, oh man, I missed that trade. Now I need to do better on this trade. I need to make more money on this trade. So I need to go in with bigger size. And then you run into problems. Then you lose money, and then you make videos like this one where you're like, damn, I'm depressed because I lost a bunch of money. But at the same time, like I said, I am learning, and this is one of the reasons why you should start trading in a simulator. The biggest problem with me in simulators, and don't get me wrong, I've done it. I traded in a simulator for almost 6 months. I was willing to trade it. The biggest problem I had was that I could never take it seriously. Like I would trade small size, and I'd be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna, and try to emulate. But at the end of the day, it's like when it's not real money, it's so much easier for you to click that buy button, because you're like, yeah, whatever, it's not my money, right? And now I know you need to treat it like that, and the biggest problem with me is just my emotions, and I know the way I learn, and I need to learn through experience. I need to actually do something and have skin in the game in order for me to really learn. And that's why the past 2 weeks I've probably learned more about trading than I have in the last year. And the losses help to learn what not to do, but they also help you to learn how to be more resilient, knowing that I should have held this. I was right in almost every single one of my trades. I just didn't hold, to get those big moves. I would get chopped out, and then but I was always in the right position, right? Where it's like, any one of these shorts, like even on CIC, right? Like, it's like if I hold this short, if I hold this short here into the afternoon, boom, I'm up 20-30%, right? It's just holding through that chop and knowing that, hey, your ideas are right. You just need to be able to put the risks up. But this is why you obviously, have a certain risk level. And what I should have done in that stock is obviously gone back in short when I saw it hit these kind of levels and get resistance around the $32 mark. And the same thing happened when this thing hit $30 the other day. And I was watching it, and And I was the whole time I was like, you know what, $30 is going to be a short. I was like, if it hits $30, it's going to be a short. I knew it, and I was watching it, and you see this topping tail, perfect indicator to get out, to start to short this, and this thing broke down from 30 all the way down to $27, and it continued to break down lower the rest of the day, right? So down to 26.50 you could have got. And I knew it was going to happen, and I seen this, but this thing, because I had shorted this thing like 2 times last week, and both times I lost, I just kept being like, you know what, screw this stock. I keep losing money on it, so I'm not going to keep going back to the well. But at the same time, you have to be willing to, take these trades, because yeah, you might lose once or twice, but as long as you keep those losses short, you can turn, a trade like this, shorting at 30, getting out at like 27, to giving you a huge win, right? So that's why you just need to kind of be aware of your emotions, be aware of FOMO, but also be aware of, these support and resistance levels, and where you want to try to get in, so that you're comfortable to stop out or to take profits at certain levels. Because these stocks move very quickly, and sometimes you might get in at the top thinking it's a short move, and then all of a sudden you're like, yes, I'm up, and then it turns around and immediately comes back up to the price you were at. Whereas if you would have just sold it down here, you would have had a nice trade. So that's one of the things that you got to kind of look at, especially when you're shorting up here. You should always be taking profit into the volume, into the VWAP. So into this volume weighted average price, you should always be taking profits. So that's just little kind of tricks of the trade. But anyway, that was my video for my blown up account. Now, like I said, it's nothing crazy. I'm going to continue trading, and I'm going to try to make videos every day. Unfortunately, I haven't made any videos for the past week and a half, basically 2 weeks, because I've been having like really almost every day it's like bad, and a lot of times it's not like, it's just my own emotions and my own kind of biases working against me. Instead of trading the chart, I'll trade my kind of thought, like, oh, I was going to short this thing's a short, it's been a short all day, so now I'm going to short again, and then it goes against you, right? And one that was like that was STPK. This was one that really hurt, really got me last week. I think it was Friday, and I lost a bit, a bit of money on this trying to short it. Just shorting into these resistance levels, right? Just kind of trying to short into these resistance levels, and then covering when it broke above, shorting into this resistance level, and then we get this push down, and if I would have just covered here, I would have actually had a nice trade, right? It was almost $1 trade right there if I would have covered into this flushing candle. But unfortunately, I was hoping for a push down towards the volume weighted average price, closer at least, and it never came. And so I covered and took a pretty big loss on this STPK. And it's one of those things where, like, I knew this was probably going to sell off, and I knew that it was probably going to go down to $14-15, which it did. I was just too early. I should have been shorting it on this day, on this move, but unfortunately I wasn't. And this is one of the things where your emotions tend to get you, right? Once a stock beats you up a bunch, you're like, screw it, I'm done with that stock. Instead of going back and saying, no, well, there's clear levels. You were actually really on point with this level of where you were shorting, but it was just a matter of there was a lot of momentum that day, whereas the next day, if you would have been shorting around anywhere in those levels, you would have been, making good money. So that's one of the things about trading, where you live and you learn, and you also need to learn from your mistakes, but you also need to take away, you can't let it get you down and get you into a point where you're not wanting to make videos like I was, or not wanting to talk about your trades like I do sometimes, because it just shows the emotions and how the emotions can get to you. And Chris is ripping right now. I just noticed that, but like Chris is ripping right now. So this thing is aftermarket, so this thing just exploded, basically from $6.60 all the way to $8. So this thing is got some crazy momentum. It's had momentum all day, and it's continuing to go. See, this was one of those stocks where if you're going to trade something like this, you almost need to just buy it right out the open, hold it, and then maybe sell at the top here, buy into these dips, and then just keep doing, trading in that level, because it was so strong. But hindsight's 2020, so we need to do what we can in the moment and trade the charts that's in front of us, and have a plan, stick to it, and that's that for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you guys think below. Let me know if you guys have ever had any problems with blowing accounts or losing a bunch of money and getting depressed, not wanting to make videos or talk about your trades because you're kind of depressed. Like, I didn't even log half my trades from the last 2 weeks because I'm just so... Now I'm going to log them because I know I need to, but it's just a matter of me just walking away some days and just getting so mad, hitting my stop loss and then just basically just walking away and kind of having to cool off. But it happens. Things happen. You never know. You just got to come back every day with a fresh attitude and, and trade. And trade, and learn and learn. That's all you can do. Anyway, have a good day, guys. Thank you.